I think this is an interesting update when it comes to Hedera. Nothing I say is financial advice. However, why do I think about it that way? Because Dell recently, in their white paper, they put HBAR at the center of trusted AI. And I think we all pretty much know about Dell, right? Over 100,000 employees, and they're even part of the Hedera Governing Council alongside Google, and as well as something like Mondelez and many others. So when I take a look at something like this, I find this pretty impressive. Now, I'll talk about the price later when it comes to HBAR, but I first want to talk about this real quick because, again, Hedera put at the center of trusted AI. That's pretty impressive, especially when it comes to Dell. Because when it comes to Dell, my perspective is that, do you think they need Hedera? I think probably not really, right? They're really massive. But the thing is this. The fact that they do even slightly care about it, I think showcases the fundamentals because why would they not? When it comes to Hedera Hashgraph, it literally doesn't even use traditional blockchain technology and instead uses something called a directed acyclic graph. So just by default, it's very different when compared to the rest of the competition. So no wonder, right? Something like Dell probably cares about this. I feel like enterprises out there, they want to look for things that give them sometimes hypothetically the slightest advantages possible. And when I compare a lot of projects out there that use traditional blockchain technology as opposed to a directed acyclic graph, sometimes it just loses out in terms of the scalability, the speed sometimes, also the energy consumption. So I think even though it might not be as significant, right? Even though sometimes you may be thinking like, who cares about that negligible difference? But in the grand scheme of things, something like Dell would care a lot actually, because especially when it comes to AI, the more efficient something is, the faster something is, the less energy consumption it is, it's going to be better, right? We take a look at AI in general. A lot of them use a lot of energy, but we have to consider that when it comes to a directed acyclic graph, it just has a lot more energy consumption sort of advantages when compared to a lot of its other competition that do use traditional blockchain technology. So I think that's probably why a lot of projects out there may care about that when it comes to Hedera. And the thing is this as well. Even if we just ignore the AI aspect, why would an enterprise not care about energy consumption? Of course they would care about that, right? However, also let's take this into consideration. Hedera has an aspect of ISO 20022, by the way. Now, the thing is this, people like to say, well, Algorand has an aspect of that, Zebic has an aspect of that, Stellar, XDC has an aspect, of course, many others. But I'm just saying, that right there I think is pretty cool because we have to consider, even though Hedera is not the only one, right? We have to also consider how this is something that's pretty crucial anyways in my perspective because ISO 20022, that's currently being used by many institutions out there from all around the world for something called inter-organizational data exchange. And it's typically for enterprises out there that have an aspect of being very focused on global trade and finance. So the way you take a look at it is that it's pretty cool seeing that when it comes to Hedera because Hedera Hashgraph, again, uses a directed acyclic graph. Hedera has an aspect of ISO 20022. The governing council when it comes to Hedera, I think is very impressive, like I mentioned earlier on the video. You know, some of the members. So I just think it's pretty awesome overall when it comes to what I see in terms of Hedera's fundamentals. Now, the price is a different case, of course. I mean, it's not doing the best, right? It's just been pretty much a constant pullback for pretty much like a year at this point, at least generally speaking, if we assume from that 1 year, right? There's been some moments of kind of recovery, but generally it's been kind of downwards. But even besides all that, why haven't I given up? It's because I still have the hypothetical thought of maybe $3 in my mind. This is just a thought though. I mean, only time will tell. But actually, I'm still waiting because sure, we're around 27 times lower than that, but I think HBAR, even not too long ago, showcased moments of brilliance, right? We saw like in 2024. So again, I'm still a fan. And also to a certain extent, some moments in 2025, but it wasn't ever an altcoin season. So this is why I just haven't given up. I just don't feel like I've seen HBAR during an altcoin season during this cycle. Who knows if we'll ever even see one though, but I just like to stay waiting. This is my mindset because when I take a look at Hedera, had this been like a random project that didn't really have anything unique, then okay, I'd probably not care about it, but I still care about it because I still like the fundamentals. Now, people like to say, but you never give up on any project. That's not true, right? I mean, I do give up when it comes to some projects. Like, for instance, I take a look at Cadena. I pretty much not cared about that anymore. The reason why? It's not because it did badly or anything like that. It's not because of the charts. It's because of what went on fundamentally. Because not too long ago, the Hedera organization, they announced that they were going to be ceasing operations. So basically stopping operations, right? I just stopped dollar cost averaging at that point. The reason being is because if a project, literally, right, the team like gave up. I mean, I'm not saying they gave up, but they basically, right, the Hedera organization ceased operations. If that is the case, yeah, I'm done. That's the thing. But I just haven't seen that when it comes to Hedera. However, again, I'm still waiting, and that's pretty much about it. I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a very nice day. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to like the video if you liked it. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.